talk show created to encourage its listeners as we discuss relevant topics in a postmodern world. This show is created by Pastor Barbara Potop and is hosted by Pastor Mike Husley. Let's check in now with Pastor Mike as we discover that Jesus is God's healing answer.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to have you here on God's Healing Answer. Just a show that we love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, Mary, how long have you been on this show?
You tell me it's been 5 years. Doesn't seem like it.
Well, I think you've been on it 3, okay?
Okay.
I've been on it 5.
All right, okay.
Yeah. And the show originated with Pastor Barbara Potop, I'm guessing 10, 12 years ago, and she's the originator of God's Healing Answer. The way it started was we had a husband and wife, I'll say their names, Dave and Mary Rowe, and they just went to Pastor Barbara and they said, you need to get your message out there, which her message was the power of prayer, the power of faith, and they just love what she had to say, and so you need to get that out there and evangelize. And
how about that? That's terrific.
Yeah, so they looked at doing a radio show, and KKVV was available and is available to do that. And so Pastor Barbara, with the support of this husband and wife, started the show. Every Wednesday is what it was. And after she would do it for a couple of years, she started getting financial support, so she's able to press on.
Nice.
Yeah, and so she went on for I think 5 or 6 years. I could have the numbers wrong, but unfortunately, back in I think 2019, 2020, she was rear-ended in a car accident, and that caused a lot of complications in her health and her ability to be able to continue on with the show. She had Pastor Clegg and actually Tim Behrens from, I think it's Jesus and I, and so both those gentlemen, they took over the show for a while, but they already had shows, so this is a little bit of a burden for them. And so I just, I felt led. Pastor Barbara said she was praying. I felt led and interested in radio. And I had a friend of mine.
What do you know about that?
I had a friend of mine talking to him on the phone, 2020, and he said, you I think you would be, he says, my wife and I have been talking that you would be good on radio. I'm like, really? I said, that's strange, because
very strange.
I've been thinking about that and more than ever. And so he said, he was a supporter of God's Healing Answer. He said, Pastor Barbara's not able to do the show. You should consider it. And I said, and I thought to myself, that'd be a good training ground and a good opportunity, to grow in radio. Yeah. And so I called Pastor Barbara, and she immediately said, Pastor Mike, you are an answer to prayer.
How about that?
And I just thought, wow, this is all pretty great.
That's very great.
And so that started about 5 years ago. And so I did a show with Pastor Clegg for about, a couple of months. And then I went on my own and have guests come in. And then at one point, I was just like, man, I need a co-host. And I wasn't sure who that could be. I just talked to you about the concern, and you just said, well, what about me?
I don't know why I said that. I don't know what possessed me to say that.
I don't either, and that had to be the Lord. And of course,
it had to be.
We've been
that's
working.
Not me.
We have been working so much together in ministry with the kids and different things at the church. And I just thought, well, let's give it a shot.
Might as well. What we got to lose?
Yeah.
We got a lot to gain.
Well, we won.
Hey.
Yeah, with you as being the co-host, and I appreciate you
I've
being
enjoyed
a part
it so very much, and it's done a lot for me as well. Believe me.
Now, with our listeners listening in right now, I don't know where they think we're going with this, but we do have to say that, unfortunately, this show has been on for 10 years. We've had a long, good run, and we're feeling the need right now to put the brakes on the show for now. We don't know what the future brings.
Right.
Okay? But we're putting the brakes on the show right now. And so this will be officially our last show. Will it be the last show forever? The last thing we do? I'm not sure. We're not sure.
We never know what tomorrow will bring.
Exactly. And so I just want to say that this show with Pastor Barbara beginning back in 2014 possibly, this show has probably aired 500 shows.
Wow.
In that time.
Wow.
And I've done about 200.
Nothing small to sneeze at. Boy, that's quite something.
So I think I've done 250, and you've joined me with that, and you've done at least 150 plus shows. So think about
Doesn't
that, Mary.
seem like it.
You know, Mary, you thought that this would not be something for you.
Nope.
If you could share one of the first times you had to lead the show.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, I mean, public speaking is probably the number one fear of people, and mine to boot. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there is no way.
Yeah.
There is no way, except God made a way. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
This is not what I do.
Yeah.
It is now, and I love it more than anything. So God can do whatever He wants to do.
Well, I would
He
say
can,
I would
boy.
say too. I mean, I think I was ready to be done maybe a year ago, but because of your inspiration and your excitement, I said, let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep doing it because Mary loves it and she's great at it.
I don't know what happened. God just took over. That's all I can say.
Well, and you do your
Not
homework.
me.
I mean, today we have a topic, and she's got 5 pages.
5 pages, and we have time for about 1 page.
Exactly. and you are the one who studies. You're the one who really does some research, deep research, and I barely have time just to kind of skim over some of the information here. And we're always going to be able to remember our last show because we're doing our last show the week of Halloween, which I am not a Halloween fan, and so you and I felt like, well, because this is the week of Halloween, let's talk about that. Okay, we're going to talk about some of its origins. Okay, how
Right.
it originated, how it transitioned into what it is today, and then we're going to talk about what can we do as an alternative as faith-based people. And before we get into that, because you're going to share a lot of its history, but the big dilemma that you have and I have with Halloween is we never know what to do at the church.
Yeah.
Because even though we have a harvest party and we do this alternative, and I'll say, hey, kids, you coming to the harvest party? Like, no, we don't participate on Halloween night whatsoever. And I'm like, okay, so that means you're not coming? No, we're not coming. My parents won't let me come. So it's just like, well, what do we do here?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
hard.
What-
It's
what-
hard.
Yeah, and I don't blame the families
No,
for that either.
they're being pure. They're being
They-
pure. The
yeah.
way they know to honor God, and
Yeah.
that's nothing wrong with that.
So we're going to talk about that today. And before we do that, we just want to say thank you, supporters, for God's
Yeah.
Healing Answer, all of your support. We've
All
had
of our
people,
listeners and our financial supporters and our prayer partners.
Exactly.
Right?
People have
Thank you
called
so
in.
much.
Yeah, we've
Appreciate
had a
it.
great time, and we'll see what the Lord has next for us. Okay. All right. So Mary, give us a little bit of history on this thing called Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the I think it was the first century. The Romans conquered the Celts in Ireland in the first century after Christ, and they were celebrating a harvest festival because it was the first day of the winter solstice. And their belief was that at that time, the veil between heaven and earth was so thin that the spirits of the dead could pass through and come back into the earth and roam about, maybe go back to their homes or the families. And so that was a little frightening. So what the population would do is they would dress up like these spirits so that they could go undercover, literally, and disguise themselves and kind of fit in with that. And also they would light bonfires outside of their home to try to, for some reason they felt that was going to scare them off, and that eventually turned out to be like the jack-o'-lanterns with the evil faces and all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's how that started. And then in our country, it was popularized in the 1900s because the Irish immigration. Now remember that the Celts came from Ireland. The Irish immigrated to the United States during the Great Potato Blight, 1820 to 1850. They came to New York, Boston, and Canada, and they brought their traditions with them, and they began to celebrate, and it just caught on from there.
Yeah.
And as far as the church is concerned, the Roman Catholic Church, they had a All Martyrs Day in May 13th, and at one time in the maybe it was a 8th century, the Martyrs' Day was changed from May 13th to November 1st. And instead of All Martyrs' Day, it became All Saints' Day.
Wow.
And so that, it just kind of melded together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you think about that originally, so what I'm hearing is that originally, well, because of the Catholic Church, they said, hey, let's make this, let's remember, honor, and revere those who have gone before. Now, they call them saints, of course. But to us, being Protestants, we're all saints, okay?
Right.
And so we should honor those who have gone before, who have been our spiritual leaders.
Yes, and examples.
Martin Luther King Jr., great pastors and leaders, our own family members. I think of my grandmother, who played a huge part in my religious upbringing and coming to know Christ. And so different things, All Saints Day, different things play out where they have... They might have masses or services. They might gather at the graveside of a loved one and put flowers and honor those folks and remember those folks. And so it's interesting how All Saints Day turned it, or All Hallows Eve turned into Halloween. And it was the Eid before that, All Saints Day.
Well, the two traditions, one holy and one unholy, they collided and they melted together, and so we have the evil part of the celebration bleeding into our holiday, and so on and so forth, so that the line is blurred now.
Right. And it's interesting how things evolve. Okay,
it is very interesting.
I mean, to this day and age, we can walk into a store. I won't mention stores, but we'll walk into a store and they'll have a combination of horrific characters and then a Christmas tree right next to them, and Santa Claus, and that's a whole other story there. But
like we're supposed to change gears,
right? And it's
flip from evil to holy,
right?
In a month,
right? And again, we know that that's about prophets, the prophet line, and I think one store starts putting their stuff out
as money, not the prophetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we know, with commercialism and all those types of things, that's a big push. Yeah. What concerns me too, though, is that we turn something that really is evil and started out as being a concern of evil. So they would dress up to scare the spirits that potentially came from the other side and coming to visit the earth. And so they put on costumes to scare them. They'd have bonfires to scare them and push them back. They'd have jack-o'-lanterns out there on their doors to scare the spirits away. And this turned into there's a history behind how the trick-or-treat came into play and all these types of things. And now it's fun and games.
I think the turning point was with the baby boomers. When the baby boomers came, there was a Peanut comic strip that, kind of, it cartooned it softened it, and also Disney got involved in it, and all of a sudden they made it fun, and it wasn't perceived as evil anymore. It became fun, and they tried to morph it into something acceptable.
Yeah.
And now it's gone too far. It's gone too far, and now the adults have taken back up again more of an evil thing, and now the children are, it's gotten scary. It's gotten scary for good reasons.
Well, and they're dabbling in these things, and in my opinion, I'm thinking that as they dabble in it, they realize this stuff is in their minds. They feel it's not real.
Right.
So they feel it's not real, and so it's okay. Let's have fun with this. Okay, it's like Indians and cowboys. The kids that play Indians and cowboys, they ain't gonna die.
Right,
They're pretending.
Exactly.
So everyone's feeling like this is a pretend type of thing. It ain't harmful. It's just for fun. Come on.
Yeah.
But you and I both know, because we're believers, that there is a realm of spiritual warfare that plays out, and that, like you said earlier, the enemy, he has one purpose, and that's to kill, steal, and destroy, and that's his purpose.
Let me read what I found. I thought this was really good. When you look and act like an evil character, you open a portal of acceptance or agreement to it in your spirit, giving permission to demons for attachments or attacks. They see it as a ritualistic invitation and are more than happy to oblige. And it says in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and accept the good and acceptable will of God." And the last thing I wanted to mention is Satan uses ignorance and naivete. If you don't know that you're participating in a satanic holiday, the effect is still the same. He has a permission to invade, to occupy, to possess new real estate, which is you.
Yeah.
And so we really, really got to be alert.
Right. And thus the dilemma, and that's why a lot of our families say, son or daughter, you are not going to participate in this because that potentially could be a gateway to something evil. And so I understand that and believe in that. And so, so Christians, they need to find alternatives to this Halloween by focusing on maybe community faith through events like Trunk or Treat.
And let me just mention this, if I may. Where we're going right here is to reclaim the day.
Yes.
Because the Bible says that this is a day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. So Halloween, October 31st, belongs to the Lord.
Yeah.
It was taken by Satan, and we have every right and obligation, really, to take it back for the sake of the Lord.
Right.
Because let him not lose one day or one thing.
Yeah.
So this is what you're saying now, what you're sharing now are ideas for people to do that if they feel so called.
If they feel to do that,
Yes.
So we're not saying you have to do
No.
anything, but we work with kids, so I work with children. I don't like them to not be able to get out and have fun and gain some candy reward. So that's my big challenge. And I don't, some parents will say, no, you don't need that. We're not doing that. And that's fine. And I respect that. But I'd like for kids, because a lot of times we haven't had anything at our church. And then the next day or the next week, I find out they went to somewhere else. Because we didn't have anything.
That wasn't terribly acceptable. It was worldly and
exactly
and because they're going to get their candy one way or the other.
Yep. So we need to think of faith-based events that we can have. The Trunk or Treat is a traditional thing in the past 20 years, and then harvest festivals, as we talked about, or by hosting private gatherings with activities like pumpkin carving and games and movies and all these other things that they can participate in. Theme it out, call it a light party. A light
that's
night.
Great.
That's
great.
Doing some of these things. So these are some things we've done. In fact, just last week we did something at our church. We did kind of a smaller event, had a party for the kids. We played games.
It was
we gave
fun.
them candy at the end. We had a costume contest. We theme it out to where we say no evil costumes, nothing mean, nothing bad.
Right.
And we talked to them about it.
Yeah, and this year everyone complied.
Yeah. And they understand what's going on here.
They
understand
do.
that
They do.
their church is saying that we do not want to participate in the evil side of this celebration, but we are going to celebrate life. We're going to celebrate eternity. We're going to celebrate salvation. I mean, we ask the kids to consider accepting Christ.
And you did send out flyers explaining to the parents what the expectations were, and so there was a clear understanding.
Yes, yeah. So there's many things that we can do. We can, like we just talked about, having a light the Night, a Reformation celebration, which organizes a celebration with focuses on Christian themes, using light and hope as a central message instead of spooky and evil imaginary characters. We have a ministry at our church called Lighthouse, and the director of that is Christina Holt. And she just does amazing things. In fact, today she was putting little bags together that just have all kinds of cute little tracks in there, modernized tracks that talk about Jesus. She has a little pumpkin that sits in a box, very small thing. It does glow in the dark. And then on the pumpkin cover, it talks about the pumpkin illustration.
Cool.
Where you pull all the goop out, get all the goop out of you, and let Jesus come in and be
Very
your light.
good. It's wonderful.
And she just does all these creative things with wristbands that glow in the dark and candy and all those types of things. And she puts a table out in front of her house.
Wow.
And so she, when the kids come up to her house, she offers these things and makes a few things options for them if they're faith based. And and just makes it more of an outreach, than a scary event. And then those kids go home with, these things to think about.
Yeah, I used to purchase cartoon Christian tracts and put those in with the tree, because the kids will read a cartoon and it's the Christian message.
Right. Yep.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It's a seed planter. It just plants a seed in their heart and their life, and they may already be thinking about that stuff. Parents may be drifting from church, but they see these types of things. They're like, you know what? Yes, with the way things are going in this world and in the school system and all that, we need to get in church. We need to get our kids in church. So this is an opportunity for an outreach, and what the enemy means for evil.
That's right.
The
That's
Lord
a good one.
He can turn it around for
Amen
for
to that.
good, and that's what we're trying to share today, to give people opportunities to do that. So you can do different things. You can do a potluck themed dinner. You can get together.
That sounds good right now. I'm not hungry.
Well, get together with your family and just gather together, have a good time, spend time in prayer.
We used to have a chili cook-off. That was fun. Something like that.
Yep. I think I won one time. I'm not sure. I don't think so. We did have one of the pastors, Pastor Jimmy.
Pastor Jimmy.
He's with the Lord now. And
he made steak. He put steak in his chili.
Well, he did, but I have to tell you.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to
cheat. Did he cheat?
He didn't cheat, but I'm going to promote a chili company.
Okay.
And so he just was so busy, and we'd
funny.
get all these crock pots together. Everybody would make their own chili. He went to the store. He ran to the store and got like Hormel chili. Several cans, put it in the crock pot, and he won.
That's cheating.
So there you go, Hormel.
Oh my word, that's cheating. That is cheating.
Well, he won, and we let him slide.
Oh my gosh.
God bless him. We can do some spiritual things too. If you don't want to get into all the parties and the themes and all that kind of stuff, you can come together either singly by yourself or friends or family, and just have a time of prayer reflection and spend the evening in prayer, scripture reading, and discussion of faith on a night where there's a lot of potential focus on evil. You could do some creative witnessing like Christina Holt does with Lighthouse Ministries, and you can do different things, Christian-themed tracts that you talked about, or notes or engagement with that go with candy and giving out. You want to make sure you give candy, not just a tract. Give candy with the tract. It'll go better.
A lot better.
Bible-themed activities. You could do a Bible karaoke night. How about that?
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I'm in on that one.
Do a Bible-style Pictionary or write poems. Write poems to the Lord. I think you do that.
Yeah, I do.
You're a
I
poet.
do that. Yeah.
You're a poet and you don't even know it. I think you know it. I know it.
Thank you.
On that day, you can do community service. Use the time for outreach, such as visiting children's hospitals. Wow. Or serving neighbors in a tangible way. I just brought some. I smoked some spare ribs and brought them to my neighbors.
Nice.
And they start bringing me stuff too. I didn't need it, but
I'm moving next door to you.
You don't have to do that. I'll bring you some spare ribs. And so, folks, we just want to share with you that Halloween is an evil time.
It is the number one satanic holiday, and there are rituals. There are blood rituals going on.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's not good.
No, and it's the most popular, probably moneymaker and celebrated holiday next to Christmas.
Next to Christmas, that's what they say.
Because people just see it as a bunch of fun. But
and they also say that 73% of people in America plan to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep. I want you to read Romans 12 again, because that's a good scripture there right before we get ready to sign out here. Romans 12:2.
Okay, Romans 12:2. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God.
Yep. We didn't even mention some of the scriptures. We didn't look them up, but people can look them up for themselves that talk about you shall not be a part of soothsayers, they call it, or future, telling the future and things of those things. And
I think that's in Deuteronomy and probably another book as well.
Well, we get direction to not dabble with that, and that's what all this really potentially is. I know people don't mean to have harm or things like that, but some people do, and some people dress up pretty nasty. That's for sure. Here in Las Vegas, we have what's called the Fright
Fright House?
Fright House or something like that on the 15 right there. And that's permanent. That's year-round. That's not just during the Halloween.
Boy.
And that's a pretty big area of square footage that they just glorify all of that.
Yeah,
I'm not
glorify.
happy. Every time I drive past the thing, I'm like, really? We got to have this here in Las Vegas 24/7.
Ugh.
Oh, Lord in heaven.
Disgusting.
Yep. Well, okay, let's make sure that we do pray over all this and take time out and say some prayers the 31st in the evening, in the day, in the evening, and pray that there be safety and pray that
Amen.
people would just want to veer from those scary movies, all those things that they take time out and watch. And man, if you're a Christian, you're not going to like me right now because you got to stay away from the scary stuff. God bless you guys. It's good to have you here. God's Healing Answer.
Yeah.
We'll see
We'll
ya.
see you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on God's Healing Answer. We would love to hear any feedback you may have by reaching out to us at godshealinganswer@gmail.com. And if you're looking for a Bible-based church, come join us at Trinity Life Center for a 10 a.m. service on Sundays at 1000 East St. Louis Avenue with our lead pastor, Randy Greer. We look forward to spending more time with you next week. So until then, know that Jesus is God's healing answer.